You are listening to Let's Go, the weekly anime podcast about weekly anime from Dynamite in the Brain and Secret of the Sailor Madness. So come along and hang with the Let's Go gang. It's Dwayne.
Hello.
It's Niall.
How are ye?
And it's me, Brian. And on this episode, we are covering anime that I'm fairly certain the words coming out of our mouth will, if we were monetized, would demonetize the stream on YouTube. But these are episodes which aired June the 17th to June the 23rd. Starting with Golden Kamuy, this is one of those episodes. Episode 48, Discharge.
Oh, this episode's for the big boys. This is for the adults. This is for the cool kids. If you're a baby, you have to leave. I'm sorry, that's the law.
Yeah, real mature stuff going on here. Not juvenile in the slightest.
It's so beautifully juvenile. I mean, for me telling me about it like way back, I was like, can they achieve it? Can they actually get this fucking scene?
More or less, yeah.
It's an episode that makes the mockery of television censorship in Japan.
So fucking like if it was made specifically for that purpose, it'd be a masterstroke. But no, it's just like a bunch of wanking jokes. Yeah.
Yes. So
jokes. I mean, like they're disturbing, but they are funny.
Yes.
Yeah.
So yeah, you cannot show the act. You can show the outline of the act. But what you can show apparently is two men flinging cum at each other.
There's no law against it.
Oh well, it's like it's also worth like if we're reading the comic for because you get the full like Matrix bullet time, spood flying through the air. It's still pretty good too. I mean, like he's kind of flipping and dodging all the stream of fucking spoos coming at him as well. Then Kakura gets kind of right in his face because the guy is like, "Oh, I got my gun on you. If you you're getting off this horse right now." Oh, am I? Katusha! No.
And we have to like follow his gaze of the dude already has his gun on you. By gun I mean his penis. His penis is pointed at you, ready to fire. Yeah, it's a very funny episode, but you might be grossed out.
And this is only like a small part of the episode. So yeah, essentially
it's the highlight. But yeah,
it is the highlight. It's what everyone was expecting because there's no way to
talk about.
There's no way to bypass this part of the plot.
No, it's plot important. You can't fucking ignore it.
Other obscene stuff they've shoved onto OVAs or they've skipped over. They normally the stuff they skip over is the Mark Trail style.
Is the too hot for TV and can be as well.
Usual explanation of wildlife. I wish we get some of that though this episode as well. This is pretty much like everything you can find in Golden Kamuy, really. But yes, Usami, turns out he is a seaman detective.
I didn't know you were a dick detective. That's clearly why he was sent on this mission with me. And it's just like, that's.
I'm a dick. Oh, I'm detective. Yes.
But he's using his dick detecting skills to like put himself in the mind of the killer by currently masturbating in public and trying to figure out where the killer would like to masturbate more. And as soon as he finds that spot, I was like, all right, now I'm going to go looking for his semen. And he finds it and he's like, it's fresh, 2 days. He comes here every 2 days to come.
To worship at the holy site. He's like a much more, I don't know, disgusting version of Will Graham from the Hannibal universe. Because he also has a scene where he can put himself like, in the room, in the mind of the killer. What were they thinking, possibly? No, that means it puts him in like way too deep. But with Sammy, he's already a fucking psychopath, so it's no problem. It's just like he's on the job. This is what I got to do.
They are not brave enough to do what Golden Kamuy would do in this case. And wouldn't you know it, the killer like does this every 2 days, like on a regular kind of thing. And it's like, he's right over there having a wank. You get the wanking shootout. We get a getaway wanking as well, which is like just it's brilliant. It's ingenious. It's very, very gay. It's fantastic. Yeah.
It's like from Kakuta fan. It's from a full water if we're gonna get him. Usami, cover me, I guess. You got it.
dear.
Not in that way, Wasabi. No.
Yes. But yes, he gets away. Then we get like a brief scene with Ariko checking in on Kikuta, where Kikuta where we lost Ariko is he's stuck between Hijikata doesn't trust him because he thinks he's working for, well, he knows he was sent by Sarumi. Sarumi doesn't trust him because he thinks he's turned and is now with Hijikata. Hijikata knows that Sarumi thinks he's turned, so therefore they're going to use Sarumi thinking that he's turned, but not actually turn him, just to play him against each other. And so Kikuta's solution for this is, while you work with me, I'm working for the government. I've been secretly sent here.
He knows that I know that you know, but he doesn't know that I'm working for the government, and you could work for me working for the government.
Oh, I'm just a simple mountain man. I didn't want to do this. Why is it gotta be me?
It is it's like, yeah, he's like the perfect character that it is too complicated a situation for.
But he does have a friendship with Kikuta, unlike any sort of actual.
Yeah, they were in the war together. So he's like, "Hey, you trust me there? I was there when you got the big scar and everything. Come on, I'm got your back, buddy." Sure.
Yes, so Kikuta's orders are to let Sarumi find the gold and then kill Sarumi. So we know what Central Command now want.
That would stop him from starting another war, and you'd get a load of money. So it's win-win for the government. Yeah.
Meanwhile, Hijikata's group are all in disguise. They've arrived in town, and they managed to figure out pretty much what Asumi had figured out, but without having to wank and eat cum.
Yeah, they've beat the street. They've done not that way. They've done detective work in their various brilliant disguises, which would be the highlight if not for the prior described fucking scenes. Because some of them are good at it, and most of them are terrible at it.
Yes, Kadakura's one, which they can't make sense of, and then they.
It's just like, what is he supposed to be? Yeah,
it's it was because you get a little translator's notes to read the comic. It's like he's a kind of monk, and he's going around. It's this kind of pilgrimage. He walks around these big stilts with a bowl of water on his head, and if you drop money in front of him, like he'll take it up. He has to pick it up without spilling the water, otherwise, he'll have to do more penance for it.
Yeah,
so he's fucked.
And then what are you doing, Ogata? Ogata, I think, has disguised himself as his dad, riding around on a puppet of himself.
Yeah.
So his puppet looks like Ogata, so it's no disguise at all.
He's drawn a mustache on himself to disguise himself as his dad. It's like, I am just a poor father. My son is so good for giving me a piggyback. Kind of like a one-man horse situation, or like what's your man used to wear the emu.
Yeah, wear the pants, and then in front of the pants is like the puppet. It looks like the fake legs coming out. You see a lot of people do this with their pets usually.
Yeah,
which makes sense because he's a big giant sniper cat man.
He's a cat, so it works. Yeah, it's perfect. It's not a good disguise. He stands out too much, but I don't think that's going to make a difference at this stage. There's a giant monk over there that looks the most threatening monk I've ever seen in my life. There's the worst guy who can keep a bottle on his head, but at least the old guy is picking up all the old ladies by being the old peddler. He's good at it. He's got it down.
Ushiyama was like, well, what do you want me to do? I can't hide my muscles.
That's just my body, man.
Sad.
Can't change it.
The first half of the episode is some more stuff on the boat with Motaro and Sugimoto. And
again, that could easily have been the highlight of the show, because he tries to drown Sugimoto. We clearly, without hearing him say the actual words because he's underwater, but he does scream with his last fucking oxygen, "I'm the immortal Sugimoto," underwater. Very funny. He escapes on a fish. It's great fucking shit,
Yeah. Shiriashi tries to stop them and drowns him. He's the one that
He tries to give him the kiss of life while underwater. Sugimoto's like, no, not like this.
I like this because you get one. Well, on board to he's rocking that long hair because he doesn't rock that long hair because he just kind of whips this and it entangles you like it's seaweed or like a kappa might do.
But then he also gets his hair entangled in the rudder of the the thing, and he's like, Jesus fuck.
And we already saw a dude get chewed up by that earlier.
Yeah. I did appreciate the ship's captain later kind of going all right, I'm down one rudder. Thanks a lot, lads. Get the fuck off my boat. So it's listen, you saved the day, but also you've ruined my boat. So yeah. But Sugimoto does choose to save Botaro, and Botaro says it's because he fancies him. But he's just like, no. We can't like threaten you with violence and torture the information out of you. So we'll just work together instead. And Shuriishi's kind of like, he's just probably going to betray us at the last fucking hurdle, right? And Sugimoto's like,
yeah, but I'll just fucking kill his ass like I usually do with these, That's, if it comes to it, I'm pretty good at that.
I was going to say, if he betrays them inland, then Botaro is at a disadvantage.
He doesn't get all his water tricks.
But he's a wily customer as well, because we're getting the whole thing. And he's getting initiated into the whole thing. They've done this with so many otherwise serious characters before. If one said, "Okay, you're gonna cut this animal open and go cook it up," and if one saying, "Who wants the brains?" "Oh, me. You want to eat the brains?" "Okay." If one saying, "You too, Botaro." It's like, no, I don't wanna. They've done it before with Ogata. It was hilarious.
Yeah. But the difference here is we're getting Botaro trying to suss out the relationships, because he mentioned on the boat that it's just like, oh, what's that Ainu girl to you? It's like, oh, she's just our guide. And I was like, really? Because you went into berserk mode when her life got threatened on the whole piracy fucking thing I was doing. It's like, that's interesting. And then he's kind of going to Usurpa. It's just like, hey, what do you think of Sugimoto? Do you like him? He's trying to get the information out. Is like, who can I kidnap for profit, basically?
What's my leverage here? Yeah,
exactly.
How can I just get under these dude's skin?
There's no I assume he's already known from prior example. You can't grab Shuriishi and get him with a gun. It's like, stay back or I'll shoot. It's like everyone would be just like, I don't care. It's fine.
No. We've seen this process, when he was going around all of the Ainu villages and stuff, and saying, "Well, let's go, let's keep paying, let's keep trying off one, just grease those palms, and we'll keep keep them sweet." That's his kind of operandi on ways, away from the water. That's so he's not completely helpless or he's still dangerous, even if he's not in the boat.
He's put all his skill points into piracy and schmoozing, charm and that kind of thing. Yeah.
We also briefly check in on Sophia Golden Hands, because we need to establish that, like everybody else at the end of the episode, is heading to Sapporo.
That was a nice cut as well, because Sugimoto and Shuriishi were saying, it's like, hey, are the eggs better with vodka or not? And I was like, oh, they're pretty good either way. And then we cut to her eating eggs from the same fucking fish, same shoal kind of thing. And it's just like, that was a good sort of food blogger transition to, it's like, oh yeah, they're still in the game. Okay, yes.
And the last bit at the end is they figure out that the candy seller is another one of the escaped prisoners who likes to bury children in his garden.
Shocking. I can't believe that guy was actually not some random weirdo, and a very specific weirdo. Yeah.
And the journalist / later on Poor says, I figured out, well, if you read the papers like I do, you would know that in England there was this dude called Jack the Ripper, and he just set up a bunch of ladies now, and this guy, he was following the same pattern. It's more like, I guess, Jack the Dripper. But we know that his last victim is going to be 40 days from now, and then he'll disappear into history. So we gotta catch him before then, because if he's one of the escaped convicts, we gotta get him done. Otherwise, the code is lost. But will that matter? There other ways? Has the code been ruined or spoiled in some way?
Yes, because
already.
That was the thing the candy seller told us. You'll never find the treasure.
I assume it's something along the lines of the code is something specifically for Usurpa, and the treasure hunt is there's other ways of finding the fucking treasure, but the code is very specific to her.
This episode weirdly feels like a final episode of the season, but there's another episode next week.
Yeah, because it's a lot of threads and everything coming together, and everybody's going to
Sapporo.
Yeah, it's just all the fucking things are converging. It's oh Jesus, it's gonna be fucked. And Tsurumi's going we're going to Sapporo.
Yes.
Hooray!
You're
gonna get a lot of product placement as well for the famous beer from that area.
Oh, lovely.
Yes, it was actually the first brewery established in that part of the country.
Cool.
And I think a character from one of the OVA stories will show up. So,
Oh, another reason to check in on the relevant material, but that was given away with the manga. Yeah.
yes, because Tsurumi's basically says 2 of you stay behind to search for a Serpa. Everybody else come with me. We're going to Sapporo. So I wonder if he thinks that actually a Serpa's probably going to be there, so I can just leave 2 people here just in case she's not there.
On the off chance that I'm wrong about my crazy
Yes.
hunch.
I assume he assumes that. I guess he's probably thinking everybody. If my men have found the prisoner in Sapporo, then it stands to reason that probably Hijikata and Sugimoto have also figured it out, and so they're probably going there as well. Therefore, I need most of my men, because there might be a gunfight with all of Hijikata's men. Because I always forget how many Hijikata's got with him now.
Yeah,
I've always like crew.
I like he's got a bunch of there's a bunch of kind of just crazes in there. Like he's got a few Ainu dudes just in there. He has like Okida, his old pal from back in the day. He has Ogata here and there. He's got poor old fun, like he's got Oshiyama and poor old Tony Angie is still bumming around there as well.
Yeah, he's got like an elite squad of weirdos, whereas Tsurumi's just like, I've got a lot of just random weirdos.
There's like, psychopaths who are in love with me.
More on that next week. Specifically, the idea of psychopaths who are in love with him. Talking of psychopaths, it's Tengoku Daimakyo, episode 12, Outside of the Outside.
Oh dear.
We've
arrived all going to shit.
Town controlled by the Ministry of Restoration, who may be a real thing or maybe just a group of people pretending to be a rumor.
Yeah, it's either the rumors based off of this legitimate sounding town that they're trying to set up, trying to reset up civilization, and they just got a rumors like, oh, they kidnap people and they do all this weird shit. It's like, no, we just got like we just set up a new economy and it's perfectly normal, and the rumors spread from that, or they're latching onto the rumor and name themselves after it to give themselves some air of legitimacy. Yeah.
By the end, it seems to be. Oh no, that's next week's episode. Throw away the key.
Well, definitely by the end of this episode, you get a sense that folks high up in this organization who are involved in this are probably not as chill as we may have been led to believe. Not in the slightest.
Because the initial chillness seems to be, it's like they won't accept the old world money, but they do accept this new currency they've come up with, these little wooden tokens, and the guy's like, yeah, don't worry, if you want to register at the government office, it's down the road there. They'll give you like 6 tokens for free.
It's like
they'll give you free money, and then you can buy some ramen at my ramen shop. It's cool.
It's like going to a beer festival. Like, your money can get you like 5 tokens. Like, what? How much does one beer cost? 3 tokens, please. It's just like, so I gotta like go through another rigmarole to get the other tokens. So it's like it keeps on going. I see how it works. But well, maybe it's as bad as Aqua Bowl, like meat stew, but real meat. No, none of this fucking like stuff we found in a ditch or anything like that. This is real primo stuff. There's 1 chip for that, and I can't eat all by myself. It's great. Like it does seem fine. Like, Social Security. We got actual fields of crops. We got like a power station like up and running again. Maybe this is all right. Maybe this is going to be good. They're definitely doing better than the kids in the past in the school, because the test is on, and it seems to be. I know whether it's part of the test or whether it's just like a separate like incursion being brought down upon the school, but things are crashing through the ceiling. The younger children are kind of pointing at the ceiling, going, "Danger, danger! What's dangerous about the ceiling?" And then look at the stairs, something crashed through it. Oh shit! They were right.
What looks like a rocket crashes through the ceiling, and it kind of goes to complete shit.
The director was like, "Come on, fast! We gotta deal with this for a sake." I'm panicking. Oh, whatever about this. Gets out of the wheelchair, starts running for and saying, "Hey, you didn't say you could do that."
Her last words are, "It's like, I didn't know you could run this whole fucking time," and then she immediately explodes from holding the director's
it's quite
wheelchair.
Good how they're being attacked, but you're kind of getting the idea of the children's
Something's
point of
coming
view
from within.
Was the computer in it, and they kind of laid them all here? Is this kind of coinciding with what the computer was like, planning to begin with?
Did the computer know there was an attack coming from the outside and therefore plan a test? Like, it's just like, oh, I can use this, that kind of thing.
But
Yeah.
it feels like you're getting the children's point of view because you're never seeing the attackers.
Yes. I mean, like, you could say you're getting the point of view of the people working there as well, because they don't have a fucking clue what's happening.
Well, no, they were planning something, wasn't the deputy?
They didn't know this was going to happen.
The
right?
vice director just got promoted, and the guy, who the scientist, the head scientist who missed out on that job, they were like telling us something as well. But now, like, with all of this like explosion or something like that, it's knocked over the cribs in the nursery. Now I've mixed up the two twins, which is which?
Which is the real baby? His
no.
problem is so fucking stupid, basically, and he's just like, I can't remember which baby was which. They're identical. Why did I clone them identically?
I'm just drawing mark on the feet of this one, so I'll know. Well, that's that one. So we'll just like we'll call that baby A, and we'll see for now. We'll test it out later.
That was very funny as a simple problem to have. It was like, which baby's which?
But some of the children, getting shut, we gotta stick together. But and all this like destruction happening, there's a hole in the wall, so there's like a fissure in the wall. I'm gonna go have a look. And someone like Mimi Hime goes, and Usami goes, and two of the other ones go as well. And
I like the fact that I think we actually get some narration there. It's like, and that was the last time they saw each other. So the kids went to the swimming pool because it's the most structurally sound place, and the other kids checked out the place. And I was like, okay, we know that motherfucker gets out, and we know possibly this other. Like, we were kind of thinking, okay, so those characters are on the loose, so we have to think about who they could be in.
Well, they kind of go into the hole and they come out outside and say, "Whoa, it's outside the outside, man!" And it's just, whoa, it's like the ceiling is all blue and it's really high. It just goes on forever, man. This is wild. And Mimi Hime is definitely, well, not definitely, I'm fairly sure was that girl that woman who was all bandaged up and having bishop opera waiting to die because the last thing she wanted to do was look at the sky.
We're looking at the sky, and also prior to everything going down, she saw like a figure, an angelic shape in the sky, that kind of thing. But now she didn't have, in the present where we recently saw her die, she obviously is not using her own eyes anymore even, so whether she can still see that is another fucking thing. But it's it's this interesting thing. I was like, we're fairly certain that was her. We're fairly certain the guy with the white hair was the doctor, that kind of thing. It lines up fine anyway.
Man, having a pretty bad time of it there. But, in the present day, it was all going fine. We're in this town, right? And Robin, we've been looking for, the kid looking for all this time, he's just in the facility out there before, and he's like, no, he's very busy, man, but he can give you like a 2-hour meeting before, and said, oh yeah, that's great. He says, and goes after her by herself. It's like, oh, I've got so many questions I got to answer for him. And she rolls up to the gate, and he's coming out, walking by with some dudes. It's like, Robin, it's me. I finally found you. And he is horrified to see Kiriko. He is actually aghast. He's like, very much, I've seen a ghost. I did not expect to see a ghost. No, you're supposed to be dead. Sort of like reaction there. But it's okay. Just wait. We're just kept in the waiting room for a bit, and then it's like, come on, if you're going to answer all the questions, no fun. This is kind of where gist of what I know anyway.
Hey, my brain got put in her body, that kind of thing, and he's like, yeah, that totally makes sense because you sound like her, but all like your facial tics and all your thing. That's that guy I know. That's that guy you say you are. Like, yeah, that makes sense. I don't know how brain switching works, but okay, I believe you. You listen. I got a lot of shit to do. Do you want to go take a shower? Because we got like running hot water. Like, everything was going so wrong because leaving without the gun, but then he's getting patted down by the guards, and he's like, yeah, he wouldn't be able to walk in there with a fucking gun, come on. And I was just like, no, all of this is bad. Everything's and especially in contrast to everything going to shit in the facility, like, everything's going too well, that kind of way.
Yeah.
Just waiting,
just a dread fun.
It's very.
It's just like I finished my shower. Oh, like I've only got a towel. Where did my clothes go? Oh, just put them in the wash. It's so great. I made some dinner for us. Come on, just come in like that. It'll be fine.
Yeah, it's straight up fucking disturbing and uncomfortable as shit to watch. Like, I appreciate that it's not been like there's so many other fucking worse shows that would portray this as titillating or something, and it's just portrayed as fucking horror. This
Yeah,
is
they would have done this sooner, really.
yeah.
Because they love pressing that button. They love going to that well again and again. And so many lesser things, in your post-disaster, post-apocalypse thing when society is broken down. They love pressing that button.
I mean, like, to be fair, like, this show did open with guys threatening that, but they were immediately like, their asses
I've got a
were
ray gun.
thoroughly
Back
kicked.
off, creeps.
Yeah, and didn't have a ray gun in this situation. So yeah, it is wildly fucking uncomfortable, but that's what they're going for. So yeah.
It is, and it's made even more uncomfortable because it's then interspersed with the joy that the kids in the past are feeling of escaping.
Seeing the outside world for the first time.
Yeah.
And it's again, the other thing it's interspersed with is obviously the and Robin is playing up this fucking thing of, he's just like, no, I want you to watch her get
assaulted by me,
that kind of fucking thing. And it contrasts that to the thing in the council office earlier where they were applying for a thing, and he was stuck on the gender male, female like little box, and it's just like, I don't want to fucking. I do have to lie, but I don't want to lie, and it's again that thing of identity that the character is having, and that being put into the sexual assault as well is just like, just really fucking horrible stuff.
Just whoever they are, a sentient creature is being degraded here and violated.
Yeah,
that's the kind of thing. It'll be less about is it like fucking. With the Takashi, is they put in Kiriko? No, this is like a different amalgamated person now.
Yeah.
Is the sense I get of it now.
I mean, like, that's part of the thing that they're playing with the character's confusion about that. Yeah.
More of that next week. I'm really struggling remembering which bits were in this episode and which bits are in next week's episode. But the one thing which wasn't in this episode, we did get the name of the doctor, and that's Dr. Sakota. That's the
Yeah.
The guy who did the brain surgery that they're looking for. And
like, it's a very well put together episode, but I understand if not everyone can fucking watch it, because it's very well done and how fucked up it is, basically.
It is, 'cause it's also the other element is Rob is describing it as an experiment.
Oh God! Oh yeah, it's so fucking ick, man. Jesus.
Well, it's even ickier when you get to the end of the next week's episode.
I'm sure it will be. It was only going worse by the end of this fucking one. So yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, it's a pretty bleak episode. But it's a bleak. The stuff with the what's it called? What do they call the schools where they've got the kids in the past?
Oh, I keep forgetting the name of it.
A nursery.
Facility.
Nursery, yes, because I think it's nursery because that's the thing they've got here is these plants, which
yes,
which gives us your other little clue is it feels like someone preparing for an apocalypse. Like someone knew an apocalypse was coming, so they've made these new bodies for people to put themselves into, and they've made these hybrid plants which are really good for growing. I'm like, did you use the same fucking technology you used to make these people to make those plants? And people are eating them, and they're going to turn into monsters.
Or change into the new kind of humanity that will survive this apocalypse. The other thing is, like, the entire facility that Robin is running seems to be a power plant that also cleans water, which is like, wow, how fucking useful that would be in an apocalypse type situation, that kind of thing. Yeah, it's very like, how convenient. Yeah.
Once we watered the ground, these plants they bloomed, and you've got the cuts between these plants and the tomato in the past as well.
With the slight cut in it from an entire fucking rocket coming through the thing, and it's splitting open in a way that's like violent, and it's just a tomato that's been cut slightly, but it does a great job of making me uncomfortable the entire fucking show. So good job.
Also, it's really funny when the director leaps out of her wheelchair and runs off.
It's funny and it's dark because it's obviously your one's been left behind to die. The woman who was pushing her. It's just, Awful stuff. Everyone's awful. Everything sucks.
Right, this is the thing I like. This is why I like Heavenly Delusion this season over Vinland Saga. And those are the two probably your best two things this season for me. But Heavenly Delusion doesn't seem to want to run away from the jarring tonal switches.
No, it's not scared of that. No, not at all.
Whereas Vinland Saga is, which is why I think people had trouble with this week's episode when all of a sudden the comedy's back.
Remember the fun? Yeah. It was kind of necessary after all.
It's good to kind of fun shit off for a bit, you know, and have like the homecoming be undercut by all these shenanigans. We'll get on to that in just a little bit.
11 first. Weak and strong. So everyone's learning about Tao in different ways. Possibly
they all have a pretty good grip on it, to be fair. They're all getting there.
Yeah. Well, like, you know, Sion and Neuro Guide are fun doing their own thing. Guys, to see like tiny little bit of them even just kind of afterwards, and then like Sagiri and the rest of the gang are kind of walking very gradually towards like the center of the island. Whereas fucking Gabi Maru and Genta Tasai and all those guys are getting the more like the practical lesson right here and now.
Learning in the heat of battle, that kind of situation. Yeah.
I suppose no Asa and his brother as well are also getting to it as well. But it's like so we got to figuring it out because there's a different kind of monster man. The ones that can talk and are sentient, and two would show up against Gary Mara's group if one said, "Oh, we want May somehow. You must bring her back." She was also one of the Tensen, but she was exiled because she is, you know, as we're explaining, like they can morph between like yin and yang, between like, you know, male and female, because they have complete mastery of the Tao. But May was thrown out because she is obviously always mastery of like the female side of the body. So we need to like take her back in, and you know, because she is valuable to our training. Your training, how so? Oh, lots of kinds of training. It's kind of like, you know, the physical training, you know, obviously doing that kind of meditation and kind of version of that. Then there's like the one we all like, where it's like it's Congress with another being, because you kind of like transferring like your energy from one and kind of getting the cycle going. What do you mean? What does he mean with that? Tiny doctor man. He means in this instance, think about having sex and fucking. It's just ooh.
Yeah, so if you just hand her over to us, like, we can just kill you and move on our way. And I appreciate even like our big samurai guy is like, oh, now I'm definitely killing these fucking guys.
Fucked up.
Fuck these guys in particular.
She is my little buddy right now. She's just like, I'm just going like fun, kill a monster. Is this right? Too strong? Is this right? Too strong. It's like, okay, I'll keep going until you say it right.
Like, he's taking a lot of it. He's genuinely trying to take advice from a small child sitting on his shoulder, and that anyone would want to hurt this little girl is just like, listen, I might be a crazy fighty shonen type character, but that's fucked up, all right? Like, you guys are getting double killed, but not only is there a centipede face man, there is a moth face man. I want to call it a moth face. So it's generous.
He's a moth man.
The lettuce doshi is the one who's fighting the brothers. And the butterfly doshi and the tentacle doshi. No, so the tentacle doshi is fine.
He's a centipede one.
Yes, so we haven't met lettuce yet.
Right.
Yes. Tentacle was fighting the brother. It's the butterfly and the centipede who are fighting. Yeah, because at first it feels like a mild political problem, because they don't want to fight the humans. They just want to take May back because they're upset that she was exiled.
She's one of us. She's part of our fucking thing. We just want to take her back where she belongs.
Gabi Maru at first is willing to sit down and talk to them, and then it becomes clear, oh no, these guys are fucking creeps. And Gabi Maru's like, I don't understand this feeling I have, but I'm going to kill these guys.
What would my wife do in this situation? She'd say, fucking kill these guys. All right, gotcha. Cool.
Yeah. It's like kind of, again, he's learning by doing, so he's kind of just like latching onto it in a moment and saying, this kind of things they're saying are resonating with things like what Sagiri was saying when they almost killed each other, and saying, you gotta fucking, like, you know, take, like, you know, the rough with the smooth, man, the weak with the strong. Like, you know, you since you come here, like, you know, you got a reputation of being this remorseless killer, but I can see there's another part to you of a more kind of tender, compassionate side, and that's also who you are. So it's like,
and that's also a kind of strength as well.
Tune into that as well, because she's kind of glad she's found a moment from saying, well, I want to be like fucking like a top grade sword fighter, which is a very male oriented job. And then getting told, well, that's you're a woman, so you can't women's. But I've found this kind of space in between where I can be skilled in the blade, but also have compassion for the ones that I fell with the same blade, and that's the kind of this middle road I'm trying to walk. So she has the basic kind of grasp it down.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's fun thing. Oh yeah, she actually, I knew there was something good about that lady. I knew she had a lot to teach me. So if I just kind of take some of that on board, I'd be able to kind of kill these fools.
Yeah, I like how Fuchi calls Gabimaru away mid-fight as they're blocking off the attacks with the fire, and he goes, "I'll figure it out." So see this guy, he's got human organs, this guy's got fish organs, and the thing they're talking about is very similar to like this thing back on the mainland. So it's just you got to be weak and strong at the same time. Here, he's like eventually figures it out because he figures like, oh yeah, I've got a copy. Sagiri, he realizes Sagiri is like that, and therefore he gets in that mindset. And he's going to take his wife's influence and his ninja master's influence and
bring those hands together.
The most toxic influence and the least toxic influence, and it's like a combination of those will make you better. Yeah.
And I can see the tower, and that's kind of reflected in there's like one line that the swords guy says about his hand being cut off has made him stronger. So
he's nearly like, I'm half gonna thank you, Mothman, for fucking losing my hand, but also I'm absolutely gonna fucking kill you for losing my hand.
It's like turning out ability into a strength kind of thing. The things that are like your flaws or your weaknesses, they're still a part of you, so you need to actually still draw upon those and account for them to like tune into this energy form.
And we get that as well in the flashback of as a Chobei of half blinding himself to protect his brother when they were taken in by bandits. And it's like, okay, yeah. So again, he's got the thing. I weaken myself to prove how strong I am. He also has the advantage that he has consumed the flesh of these monsters.
I think he's fast-tracked a bit.
Yeah. He's definitely skipped a few levels through just munching everything around him, basically.
And his brother's like, oh, those scars. They're looking a bit weird. Yes, because he's grown back his throat, and then later on, his arm.
Like I appreciated like he's like, hey bro, you take care of the weaklings. I'll take care of this root face motherfucker. And initially, the root face guy's like, that's fine. I'll just fucking call him in. And then when he's like, oh fuck, I'm on the back burners. Weak guys to me. And your brother's like, sorry, killed them all. Should have been quicker.
He's looking like one Nanto steak in them, the little chunks all around.
Yeah, because as attacks his navel, and he's like, aha, exactly as I suspected. The navel's the weak point, and then jumps into the wound while he's lying on the ground and tells his brother,
jam it in there just because I'm going to perform a little experiments on you now, root face man. Yes. We'll see how you like it.
Because he tells his brother to get somebody to tie him up because we need to question this guy and get some answers. Meanwhile, the centipede one is just going to give them the answers because he's like, I'm fucked because Gabimaru has learned Tao now and can just kick the shit out of us. So I'll answer
get into high gear. Yeah. Well, the second, the Tensei can turn into kind of big monster yokes, but these guys can kind of fake it by some of the little centipedes and kind of make a big centipede monster body out of myself, and that's pretty good.
Summon a bunch of moths and make a big moth body for yourself. And I appreciated the final attack where your man I'm just gonna run at him screaming with my sword, and it Gabimaru coming in doing some crazy shit, and he's just slightly distracted, but he still chops that guy in half, so it all works out.
Did I do it right? Strong. Too strong.
Too strong. You're just doing strong.
But they mentioned that they were sent down by the Tensei because the Tensei were worried about how strong the humans were who turned up this time.
They were right to be worried, yeah.
Oh no, poor Hoko, his guy's head knocked off. Like he's fine, the head's still talking, but still. Yes, this is what he gets for his centuries of devotion.
It ends with him opening the gate, and then one of the Tensei's there, and I haven't learned all the Tensei.
Just goes and chops his head off without even going up to him, yeah.
Yeah, I think when the series ends, I'm probably just going to pick up the comic.
Yeah, I think that's a good way to go.
And I might just burn through it because I I'm really impressed with the story for the most part.
The story is very well done. The characters are great. Like again, I'll probably check in on the next season as well because it is a really good looking fucking show. But yeah.
There was like there was one more little bit of like here was like backstory of this person. Oh, they're dead now. There is one more of those, but then after it settles into fun. This is going to be the team going forward. So anything after that feels like you're kind of with them for a little while for the remainder of it.
Okay.
Yeah, I really like the sort of figuring out of powers, the detective side of like casting of detective stuff into a fight, and the fact that all these different groups are figuring out.
They're figuring out in different ways and coming to the same conclusions.
I just feel like they've all touched upon it in their own ways. What is like ninjutsu, or what is fucking like swordplay, or just like feeling the fucking wave of the universe. So it's all like this one thing. It's like when they found out about Haki in One Piece, but instead you've been seeing this all through the comic, but it's like never been expressly called this principle that's been widely understood.
It's great. The guy who thinks he's the weakest because he's blind, and it turns out he's already been using this before they arrived on the island. He's already.
The reason why you're so strong is because you've been using it the whole time, man.
Yeah. So, it's interesting to see where that goes. Then we got Chibi Godzilla raids again, Series 1, Episode 11, an all-Chibi monster chorus, where they go.
You want to go down to the salt bar for the karaoke? Sounds great.
Yeah, they just monsters doing karaoke. I think my favorite bit is the subtitles of Angirus's karaoke of just describing the sort of monster noises.
Mournful howl, hopeful howl. You know that kind of, that is also how I sing the Godzilla theme when it does come on. So that's fair. I think it's an appropriate way to do it. Yeah.
But dan or yang yang yang.
Dun 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 dun. Dun, yeah. I also accept ba 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 ba. Yeah, that's fine too.
The other joke is that the Mothra's fairies, they sing a song and they're like, oh well, also going to go 100% because singing is their actual thing, but they only get 70.
They're not in unison, despite being twin fairies who sing specifically is their thing.
And originally played by singers. It's such a stupid show. It's very fun.
Stupid good.
It is. Then Vinland Saga, Season 2, Episode 24, Home, in which Thorfinn arrives home and
it's a bunch of jokes of have you been away from home for a while, because like I appreciate the levity after all the kind of dourness, but like initially just rolling up on the docks is like, hey, who the fuck are you? It's like, I'm from here. Oh yeah, what's my name? Barry?
It was just complete indifference, you know. If he's finally coming home to Iceland, it's going to be this like, you know, really like, you know,
everyone's going to cry,
outpouring of warmth about everyone saying it's like, it's just a Thorfinn, but Thorfinn is a pretty common name we've kind of found. There's lots of guys called Thor something around here, so it could be dudes.
And it's like an introduction for Einar, who's just like, wow, I can see why you guys don't have fucking crops. It really is an Iceland, isn't it? And you have your man kind of going, it's like, no, we get really good summers though. I mean,
wait to see Greenland, man. Now that's Thomas determinism, not imagine.
The adaptation is a bit weird in this because they stretched out the scene at the market and then cut what I feel is a pretty important scene from later on in the episode. Because the scene that's missing is there's a scene where after Ylva and Thorfinn have properly been reunited, i.e. she's punched him through a wall, she's the one who cuts his hair. And we get of her cutting his hair and then apparently getting carried away and cutting his beard off as well.
It makes him look younger. It makes him look like fucking 20 years longer. He's been through a lot. So
the effect of it as well when it comes out and saying, well, that really accentuates that mark he's got in his cheek now. So she's like, you know, the mirror of Canute. She's like, oh, I see.
Yeah, but I was like, that's a weird scene to cut out, particularly because what you replaced it with is stretching out unless a scene at the start of the episode. I think in general it does the thing that it kind of is supposed to do. Is this is the segue to the story, then now begin to focus on Viking women more than the two Viking men we've spent the past season with.
We've looked at a bunch of Viking society, and as most of history is written just about
we have found
dudes,
it wanting.
Yeah, most of history is written about guys and shit. The women were also doing shit the whole fucking time. Would you fucking believe? And yeah, it's doing that kind of shit. I again, a lot of the emotional stuff they got across was kind of like, I like the contrast between meeting his sister going like, that's not my brother.
Fuck.
He's definitely dead. You were fucking with me.
You're a scam artist. Gonna fuck off with fun. Get away from here.
And then the tearful reunion with the mom, and then the emotional reunion, but not tearful reunion with his sister. But yeah, I get what you mean by leaving that out. You're kind of like, it's her accepting him, and it's her in her own way going like, yeah, I still care about you, bro. That kind of thing. I mean, like,
fuck you been?
Punches him through a wall.
And it's also the bit where they're asking him if he's okay, and he's saying, "No, I'm fine. I can take punches," and then passes out. A little bit of drool comes out his mouth.
And like, all the comedy works really well because it's like, fucking, he took 100 punches, he took 1 punch, and then all the kids who he was playing with before the mom came home, where all his nieces and nephews, and they're like, "Mom's real strong," you know, they're just like reacting as kids who was like, not a man has just been beaten unconscious, and they're just like, cool, brilliant.
It's like when Garp hits Luffy, but Luffy is just like, you know, oh, I'm fighting like real henchman. I keep getting back up to take him down, but granted, it's me. But, oh, I'm out for a count.
That hurts emotionally, you know. Yeah.
You can't just simply drink some milk and grow your teeth back, because I noticed it, but someone pointed out that Ilva's husband is still missing. He lost a tooth at the start of the series.
Yeah, those were his adult teeth.
And now subsequently, he's now drawn without that tooth in his mouth. Yeah, it's a good episode to end it on, and I long suspected it would be the end, but it is weird. They had to stretch a lot of material and yet still cut some stuff out. Why do you do that?
Yeah, there's always going to be some odd choices in adaptation.
Yeah, but they've done this. They've done that before. I mean, the very beginning was sort of done in Art of Already sort of fast as well, chronologically, let's say, as would be in the comic rather than as was told in the comic to us.
I saw somebody today this week saying, because I was recommending it, and someone was saying, "Oh, I tried watching the first episode and I couldn't get into it," and I pointed out I had to look it up. I was like, "Oh yeah, that's probably because what's the first chapter of the comic, which is designed to grab you by the lapels and drag you into the comic story."
Vikings are cool.
Check it out.
And then the rest of the comic is like, Vikings fucking suck. I fucking hate Vikings.
Episode 7 of the anime. Chapter
yeah.
Of that. It was that deep into the series. Chapter 1 was that.
Yeah.
Which I mean, had 2 series, so I guess it worked for them. And I like I say, it's up there with Heavenly Delusion as the best thing of the season, but I still find things wrong with it. But that's because I love the comic so much.
Yeah, it's this is like, you know, like it's good to have something like this, or like, lads, Cowboy Bebop was more than 2 decades ago. We can't keep wheeling that one out when someone asks you for and said, "Hey, something to," I mean, like, you know, you've been anime for, you know, someone at work or someone in your family and said, "What's a good one to watch?" And what a good interview, and say, you can't just say Cowboy Bebop. Can't say that again because they've probably already know about one. But say Vinland Saga is that's the go-to one now. Just very easy thing to approach. And as even I could talk that with a friend at the weekend, everyone said, "Well, actually, that could be pretty good." So I watched the TV series Vikings. You know.
Yeah.
It's a lot of the same thing, and you got Leif Erikson and that and all that fun, and saying, "Well, if you enjoyed that and want to see it in a cartoon form or some of it anyway, well, there you go." Easy money.
Particularly if you're in Northern Europe, and it has other additional appeals of you could occasionally see places and go, "I've been there."
Yeah.
I live there.
It's stuff that you'd learn.
London's sure changed, I tell you what.
They stopped having wooden bridges. What's the deal with that? It's a lot of like history stuff without feeling like the way Golden Kamuy is like the food blogging and the cultural fucking stuff where it's just like I'm learning and in a way that's fun. It never feels like that with Vinland Saga, but it's still doing that kind of stuff. Like it's like here's what a Viking farm would be like, and it's like that's been this season, but it's gotten into the real kind of nitty gritty of that. Like,
well, it feels different to us because in Golden Kamuy, it's probably Japanese culture, which we didn't necessarily kind of grow up or learn much about in school, and then even within that, it's Ainu culture, which even within Japan, people don't really have much of like but the barest gist of it, at least before this anyway.
Yeah.
Whereas this is probably something we did learn about in school. We were surrounded by at least a tangential knowledge of it, and maybe like working knowledge of it. So we kind of see it then from like and can pick up a lot more if it's like I suppose philosophical themes a little bit more readily.
I also like how it depicts Christianity as both a positive thing, but also how it was, kind of brought in as just like, it's not a great look. It helped, but also it had its own fucking problems, that kind of thing. It's the standard with the Vikings and everything else.
It became under a system of control, because that's what any of these things are out one saying, whether it's like by force of arms, system of control, whereas by like force of guilt and holy people under your sway by this like adherence to an almighty, unknowing, unseen power. That's a different kind of control as well. It's a bit more subtle and takes a bit more effort.
Then a show you're unlikely to recommend instead of Cowboy Bebop. It's the Marginal Service, episode 11. When you wish upon a star shall have the guitar and perfume. What I would recommend,
the star should have a perfumed guitar. You could have rhymed that. It could have fucking worked.
I will say, the thing I would recommend this over is episode 1 of Secret Invasion. Talking of weirdly, somehow Marginal Service is a more intelligent show than Secret Invasion appears.
See, I was going to say it's nearly a pity you can't recommend Marginal Service because, like, last fucking episode, a law came into place in the show that did in reality and mirrors it, except with like monsters and shit. But still, it's just like, hey, marginalized communities. That's a shitty thing for a government to do. It's just like. It's relevant. It's a relevant fucking show to now.
It's the framing of it too, versus everyone saying, "Oh, they shouldn't have brought in this law as a pretext because it's part of the war on drugs. It's just these drugs are bringing in. They're like, it makes it's fatal if you don't do it." But say, "No, this isn't class A drug. This is like fucking like this is nothing like."
We're reasonably certain that the drug that these monsters are smuggling into Japan is probably just peyote. Like it's probably nothing harder than that.
Yeah.
Like.
But so besides being this kind of right, go on.
Peyote is a Schedule 1 drug under the UN's scheduling.
Is it?
Yes, this is what I'm saying. The Marginal Service.
I didn't even know it was registered that fucking hard because it's like fucking weed, isn't it? It's fairly fucking like. I'm not saying it doesn't affect people or it doesn't have a purpose.
I shouldn't drive when it's but
for sure.
The most damage you're going to do is to a frozen pizza.
Honestly. It's like drink. Like you don't fucking drink and drive either. That's just sensible.
Yeah. So the Marginal Service is not only stupid, but it also has its politics in the right place, and it also does its research. It's a strangely intelligent show, and also that bit is it's Zeno as the one who's done the research and established that it's actually Schedule 4, not Schedule 1, and left that clear behind for them. To has just established that Zeno, while he appears to be a maniac, going through some terrible PTSD, he is still a good investigator.
He's not a good cop, but he's good at investigating.
He probably shouldn't have that gun.
No, he absolutely should not be licensed.
He should be using his head a lot more, like Brian does.
That's the other thing. The evolution of where Brian across the series is pretty great.
After getting kind of pulled up by saying, well, you see, for Borderlands, right, but you keep fucking around with Peck, what you're saying. We now just gotta team up with Peck, for a lot of this episode, and saying, okay, we gotta work together right now. I won't brutalize you like I have before because I know you can regenerate, because that's what Gina was doing. I think that's wrong, so I got to stop that.
And it's not even the standard thing that Brian came from a point of being racist towards Borderlanders. He's just like, I just treated Peck like an immortal groundhog, which he is, but that's kind of a dick move on my part. I probably shouldn't be doing that. Yeah, you're right.
Even if Peck has an obnoxious personality.
Like, Peck is a fucking asshole. He's an asshole to work with. He's a fucking creeper at work. But it's like he's still a guy. Like he's still a human.
But
he
come down on him
claims to
like
have a
that.
girlfriend.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They come down on him for that, not because of who he is or where he's from.
Yeah.
So Zeno's going with the harpy lady.
I always forget the harpy's name. Yeah, they say it several times as well.
Yeah. Well, next week I should have taken the screenshots when their names appear on the screen next week. They go and speak to the AI hacker because they're trying to find. They're going to break Rubber Suit out of whatever prison he's being kept in.
Because he'll know he's part of that terrorist organization and the drug dealing shit. So he's our inside guy, and
so
we have him. We've already caught him.
Zeno's being investigated by Brian and Peck, and they're trying to find him. They need Rubber Suit to track Zeno down. Meanwhile, the rest of the Marginal Service are investigating Brian and Peck, and they're discovering that they've stolen the AI, which she hadn't destroyed. She kept a backup of him, so maybe she does actually have feelings for him after all.
Which is what they use as leverage when they stick his little USB dongle into the computer, and he's like, "Oh, don't fucking talk to me. She fucking broke up with me." And
Eddie, come on, why
she saved you on a USB? That means she still cares about it. He's like, "Really? Okay,
so
I'll help."
saying there's a chance.
And I mean, like, probably in exactly the same way she would have used him down the line. But yeah, oh dear. Poor old Eddie Snow.
Yeah, so they break out Rubber Suit, who is just in the basement of somebody's house.
Well,
I mean, like, he's locked in there. He's behind, like, plexiglass. He's doing upside-down naked push-ups. And it's just like, oh, hey, I didn't expect to see it. And they couldn't figure out a decent way to censor out his junk. But, it's just like, yeah, his junk is there. So, yeah.
But who was out here to stop us? But they're arrested the Marginal Service because you've been told by the UN, if it's hell or high water, you gotta stop Brian. Otherwise, you're going to be dissolved.
A bunch of UN roughs show up and rough up the joint, and it's just like, yeah, well, we can only take care of Borderlanders, and they're like, yeah, well, kidnap a Borderlander, so technically you can, so go arrest them or kill them, whichever comes first. We don't mind, honestly. Just clean it up for us, if you would.
But their attack on Brian and Rubber Suit is then confirmed at the end. That was just them allowing Brian and Rubber Suit to
just
get away.
Shoot wildly and let him escape. It's just like, which is like, yeah, that will look like our usual kind of job. And I like the fact that they kind of do it because it's like, hey, they're our friends. And then your man kind of doing it is like, they shot up all my cool alien shit in my shop. I fucking get those guys.
So is it the
Rubber Suit is very helpful and expositing upon saying, so I'm on this long character upon saying, that's right, it was aliens all along. Because while this whole case goes back from 10 years ago, their mark was left on the wall. Remember that the UFO crash and Borderlanders came, we sorted it all out for you. Yeah, thanks. You're welcome, by the way. But the children who witnessed that, they kind of awakened their extrasensory powers. And
yeah, they were the closest ones to the crash. So they all have the same. It's the kids who made the little symbol. Yeah.
Not the kidnappers. So it's like they have been drawn back to that again. So it all ties back into that incident. And I think supposedly, Zeno figured this out. We saw the cake because the cake had the UFO in it, and one of them said the bit cut off one saying, oh, "That's the symbol. This stupid cake has cracked the case for me."
So they find a government facility where they've got the children and the UFO, and that's where, and also they've got Xenos there. Let's rescue the kids.
There's a bunch of good bits as well where they're on their escape, where the Marginal Service is pretending to shoot them, or they're shooting at them for sure, but they're missing, like they tend to do anyway. But just Rubber Suit kind of going like, there was a car on the back, and it's like, why didn't you fucking tell me that earlier? And Peck pulling up in this very tiny, like a gardener kind of truck that is bulletproof for some reason. But
well, it's a very good golf cart. Also, your occult tourism for you. This hidden facility, Area 52, is like hidden under Mount Minakami, which is a real place. Which is because it's got like it's, at the top has come off. It was like it was like a very extinct volcano, but it was like could be like it was like a pyramid. Could be the oldest pyramid in the world. So a lot of stories surrounded that. It pops up in a lot of manga and what have you. You may have seen it in your travels as the location of a Kronos base in the Guyver.
I'm guessing it comes up in Spriggan and whatnot as well. Yeah.
Not to my knowledge, but
Really? That seems like their jam,
I bet it could. I bet it could happen.
I also like how Pekka's grown himself slightly longer legs to drive the car.
I mean, like, that's not him. He's not actually a marmot or whatever the fuck he's supposed to be. He is like, that is his rubber suit, I guess, is the idea. Yeah.
Yeah, it's the guy ahead of the guy who's with the UN group who's interfering in this is the guy who they were trying to prevent from voting through the legislation.
Whose kid was kidnapped, and he's doing this like to give them a shot. He's like, listen, you fucking got me out of a bind, so I'm gonna. This is me being nice by letting you kill one of your own, like, or several of your own, I guess technically. Yeah.
Thanks.
And the UN guys have got like very sort of weird UFO technology type.
Yes,
they've got cool like the marginal service wears fucking colorful Power Ranger safety gear, whereas and just gets like crazy fucking nail gun rocket launchers and the kind of shit. These guys, they got lasers and shit. Like, what? How come they get the UN budget and we get we had to like go request a second helicopter after we blew up the first one? That kind of thing. It's just like.
It's also as well like I thought the stipulation was no aliens. I thought that was not a cool thing to do, but you've been doing it all along. So I guess that's how it works. It's fine when you do it.
No aliens for you, aliens for us, obviously. Yeah, we get the alien technology.
We decide who the aliens are here. Thank you very much. Coming in here with their drugs and have a good time. So at the same time, it's just being like this sort of like say manifesto to. Let's give immigrants their character rights to live in this country and then treat them properly. It's also maybe like a fun. Hey, how about we legalize it? It's been it's about time, right? No fun. We just got the pill. We're almost there. Almost a modern country.
Like you said, Brian, it's got all its politics in the right place. And it should be a stupid as fuck show. It often very is, but it's like, no, it's those idiots on screen are right.
Just wished it looked better. That's the problem.
Yeah, that's another thing as well.
Because the character designs are fine. It's just sometimes it just looks very flat.
Even when they get naked for no good reason, it's generally quite funny. So yeah.
Then we got MASHLE, Magic and Muscles, episode 11. MASH Burnedead and the Survival of the Fittest. In which MASH beats our villain up, but it turns out by the end that he's not the actual final villain of the arc.
What? No. Well, say beats him up. It's just like this is how all of these end boss fights in MASH will go. He just like humiliates them at every turn.
Yes.
What if I use puppets like this? What if I turn you into a puppet? What if I puppet your friends? What if I use puppets to shit? I've been suplexed. Fuck. That's me then.
just go up and say, that's fine. Guess I gotta get serious. Okay, that's fine. I guess I gotta get more serious. Okay, this is as serious as I can possibly get. I'm a very serious guy. I'm not even doing the count. The small face gets smaller and smaller as I get repeatedly shocked by what you were doing right here. Well, that's the girl outside is just getting speedwagon into us through this whole thing.
Yeah, she's talking us through and explaining shit that we can't see with our human eyes. But I
she can somehow
because she's spectating. She can spend all her effort on just like watching and figuring out what the fuck is happening right now. But I like the way it was again, kind of like the end of the last week with Mash and your man, our villain
Abel,
both being very dry, very kind of like straight face, like both of them kind of like were quipping at each other but not having any emotional intonation in their voices, and like just like it's not working. We need a funny guy. We need a funny guy in this fight for it to make sense, and that's why we have her outside giving out.
It's coming back for us. It's like, you know, if you about survival of the fittest, but if I beat you up, then that means I must be a superior being to you. It's just like,
that's how it works.
no, it doesn't.
Yeah, so we get Abel's quote unquote tragic background. His mother was very kind to the poor, but when
Very
one
kind
day,
to the lesser people. Yeah.
one day, one of the people she was helping stabbed her, and she died. And
And
now Abel
That means it must
lives.
all be bad. So
Yes.
I took my wife's going to persecute the rattle out of them.
she took her privilege and used it to help the people lesser than her, and she got fucking killed for it. Therefore, fuck all
Don't
poor
help
people.
anybody.
That's what Mother would have wanted. That's how she lived her life. Wait, no, it was the opposite. Now that I think about it.
He's laying all of that up and said, I guess you can understand, you know, but it probably doesn't excuse my behavior and all. I hope I know if I can know this the point said. Yeah, can I have Lemon back now? Is she around? Do you know where she is?
That was part of it. If I beat you, you'd give me Lemon. And he's like, oh yeah, like absolutely. And Mash kind of going like his standard thing of just like, you fucked up. You did the wrong thing, but you did it for your ma'am. So you know, you're not all bad, I guess.
Probably all right. You know, you
did enslave all these people as puppets, but you let them off just there when I beat the shit out of you and suplexed you, and you did it for like because your ma'am, which is like, yeah, that's okay. I can go with that because we get the flashback with his dad of him being a muscular baby.
Yes.
Yeah, good stuff.
Anyways, we're all free. Fittest here, and Lemon is here, and I'm also by $2 here, just going, hooray, hooray, hooray. Victory dance, victory dance. And Abel's going, this is not my scene at all. Like, you know, I'm
Abel's like kind of like
and cool, but this is too inane.
This is my base. Can I fucking leave or something? This is really awkward with your awkward
Please go home, all of you. I'm processing some things right now, all right?
Yeah.
They are wondering where Lance is. You know, Lance is wandering by Rain, and Rain's like, I don't think you go to this school.
He doesn't. That's Innocent Zero disguised as him.
It's one of the escaped prisoners, isn't it? No, there's the other guy. Yeah.
Yeah. Cell War is this guy. You can master of disguise.
And the guy he leaves behind while he goes ahead to murder people is a serial
killer and cannibal.
Cannibal. Couldn't think of the word. Yeah, he can summon giant forks and knives, which is very similar to summoning giant swords, I guess. Yeah.
So Innocent Zero is after something in the skull, and they were getting Abel to search for it, but nothing.
But now that Abel has surpassed his usefulness, I'm going to go kill Abel. All right, you fight him with forks and knives. I'll be back in a jiffy.
Yes, and Ray's like, I'm not sure if Mash and my brother and the others are going to be able to fight that guy because he's as powerful as me.
He's a level of divine visionary. He was put in prison for being super bad, that kind of thing. Yeah.
You'll probably be fine.
Yes.
Because Mash could deal with you pretty handily there earlier on, so
yeah, so
I wouldn't be.
They've announced another series of this in production. They've announced that season 5 of Golden Kamuy will be the end of it, and that's it.
Yep, that's cool.
Okay.
Like comic is done, and then by the time they're making more MASHLE, that comic will be done. So it's like you can lay it out just the way you want it. You know, there's
done next week.
Yep.
Yep. It was starting to cook a little bit here. You know, it's been fairly, you know, kind of a middling thing most of it too. But as I said, moments, you know, and a guy give it the props here for that he's starting to kind of cook when it's a big confrontation. You know, the guy pits and starts, but they got speed wagon the cool shit you just saw. But you just see some cool shit. So that's
some of the animation is really nice, and the jokes are generally quite fucking good. And I gotta get the music, man. That fucking music is great.
That's what I was looking up to see whether the soundtrack was out yet.
When's the soundtrack coming out? Oh, that's gonna be sweet, man.
Before they even kick off, you know, Mash and Abel are just like, you know, having a little back and forth, and there's a fun. nice fucking track going underneath it, like, you know, because he was thinking of fun. Oh, he's got a robe and a creep out. No, you think, you know, fucking like, you know, a gothic fucking orchestra going off and saying, no, it's fucking this nice flow happening right there. It's, who's to say Abel couldn't be a fan of hip hop? Could happen.
Yeah, sorry.
Yeah, I was now. If you got any more to say, because I was about to move into Birdie Wing, so carry on mashling.
We'll move into Birdie Wing. It's cool.
Birdie Wing, episode 25. The Promise revives. Dun, dun, dun.
Yay!
Well, I was partially right. They do have to golf back to back against the final villain.
Sorta, kinda, because Aoi is not able to, you know, physically kind of to put up with the strains of that her condition has put upon her. So, but a while like won't be there with you.
She collapses. She gets up. She's walking to the last putt of the day. She collapses again. It's like, all right, that's it. We're just gonna call it there. But then we get the start of this episode. It's like, and then she got up again, and now they're golfing together. I can't believe we're golfing in this anime. That won't let us golf together. It's like, that's right. We certainly are. We are best friends, and I love you. And it's like, wow, everything's going so well. And then obviously she wakes the fuck up from her beautiful dream, and it's like, oh yeah, you're out of the British Open. Sorry.
Shit. But no, Eve, you've still got to fucking beat, like, you gotta be fun Juha. She's fun mean business. And there's two things you gotta do to do that. First of all, you gotta fun take my putter, take my driver, you know, fun to see what weapon you could possibly fun bring her down. And second of all, I'm gonna be your caddy. Come out next day, final day of fun saying, here comes Eve now, fun saying, here's her fun caddy, you know, it's itching now, fun saying, no, it's MASHLE. He's like, what's she doing right here? And Granda is like apoplectic fun saying, why, Granda, you're meant to be the champion, why you be the caddy to this fucking freak? And
also she's being the caddy to the other company, and her Eve's dad is like just laughing. It's like, that's Granddad, fucking mad.
Because it's well fun. He's also using, like, you know, the experimental driver belonging to Athena fucking company fun saying, this is a complete like fucking like PR nightmare and all fun. Yeah, it's gonna be like somebody contract shredded off the back of this.
Also, Karen has leaked it to the media that Eve is connected with the underground mafia golf circuit.
Yeah, so it's questionable whether her record will stand, and you know,
she be stripped of her license and be disqualified from any pro golfing.
We have the champion kind of come out and said, "I really wish you didn't do that, because like now you basically you basically made her like an animal with her fangs bared, her back against the wall. I was like, I was just gonna beat her nice and slow the way I usually do, but now I'm gonna have to fucking work for it. Why did you have to go extra with that?"
That's because she's called Karen. I assume the name Karen is picked deliberately.
Yeah.
Then they win, and then she's suspended for 3 years.
Luckily, she wins. Eve wins, but
vanishes.
But it's taken away from her, and it's just like, oh, you got. Even though she got the better score, it's just like, yeah, you're connected to the mafia, so we're just gonna suspend your license for a little bit.
So Juha wins again,
and she's like, it doesn't really feel like I win because I did fucking lose. So the moon was wrong.
Because they did it. They did the super move, you know, because they couldn't play against each other, so now they're gonna play with each other, and they're gonna have like the shining wings rainbow burst, where it's just like we're gonna have the whole effect rainbows. Explosions, but explosions that are also birds. It just kind of sails. It's like, you know, you see the whole one TV show of it. It's like leaving the usual kind of rainbow wake kind of comet this time, and it's just like it just keeps on going and going and going and going. It hits like 300 and something yards on those shots. Which
I did
is
actually remember
inhuman.
Like 320 or something ridiculous. I did measure finally because I kept forgetting. I was like, how big is 48 inches? And it's like up to my sternum or something like that. And I was like, that's too big. That stick is too big. That shouldn't be allowed.
It's anime, man. The bigger the weapon, the more the cooler it looks.
So then 3 years pass, and wouldn't you know it, in those 3 years, they found a cure for terminal yips.
They found the cure for like degenerative golf disease. That's good. And also Eve has been presumably still golfing but like not underground, but not illegally underground, that will get her license suspended again. So she just picks up her caddy from a random Japanese golf course.
Yeah.
Because she had to get a job, obviously. Yeah.
But it's also the old man who she sent flying with a golf ball in the very first episode.
Yeah. Oh, not again.
Yeah.
And so they'll finally get to golf against each other. We don't see that.
No.
That's fine.
Yeah, because it's tough to have a 25. I wouldn't mind if it had gone to like 26. You could have a much more kind of fraught final and would have a little bit more time for like a victory lap. Or at the very least, a bit more of like American Graffiti ending where you kind of, I could see what everybody got up to afterwards.
Yeah, you're also going to see the other kids are now 4 years older, because they also established this episode like a year has passed over the entire series, because they mentioned that they're 16 during the tournament.
Yeah.
Well, at the before the British Open, like all the time they spent, training or trying not to die, to make it to the British Open. I think it more or less came together. It didn't kind of betray at all what I was setting up, which is that's always the kind of the fear you might have. Interpretation was, a lot of people have one saying, the Sunrise thing, it's got a split season, and that means it's going to probably, fun, be great up front, but they're going to really rush it out the back half, which they think did, but I think I've just been much worse. Like split seasons have come back and it just hadn't been the same. I think I figured it out. Like a lot of like the fun of it in the first bit of it was okay. It's crazy underground golf against golf assassins basically. But we also have like professional like golf experts who for fun saying now you got to also do proper golf for fun saying okay, we'll do that too. But then it kind of found a way to make that ridiculous, and you got brought in a bit of underground golf as well, and then you got, of course, Rasnable being a ridiculous guy, and just the soap opera stuff really carried it, because it's just like, oh my God, they're dying because of golf. Oh, what a cruel world.
Yeah, I like that the ending sort of is like the entire series is very much like 15-year-old impermanence of the world going on. So
it's like, I gotta golf. I gotta put my life on the line for golf. And it's like, you're 15. You have a long golfing career ahead of you. Just fucking don't go mad or nothing.
And so,
it's like, no, I gotta wreck my body with golf. It's just all right, your fucking license suspended for 3 years. Congrats, idiot.
You get the ending of the 15-year-old's ending, and then you also get in the epilogue is like, oh yeah, Leo was kind of right. It wasn't. You didn't really need to hurry so fast. If you just slowed down a bit, they'd find the cure. You wouldn't have burnt your body out so bad. So it gets best of both worlds. I do like that. It kind of captures that quite nice. I just wish it was a bit more bonkers. I just wish it leaned a bit more.
Just a little more. We didn't get a fucking golf cyborg. Just one golf cyborg. That's all I fucking want.
Well, one more golf cyborg.
Yeah. Another one. Yeah. I'm like one with the club built into the arm. That kind of fucking thing.
The opening's got the crazy cliff golf course. Straight out
the background with all the dads playing golf, or have to play golf in the Gulf War on cliffs in storms. We only ever golf in storms a few years back, but like
it's like the girls didn't get a chance to do that, even though the credits suggested they would be doing that. But I guess production plans may change between the production of the OP and the conclusion of the series.
It was like a multimedia thing as well. So we're trying to push like a mobile game or video game or something like that. And again, there were golf consultants on hand, so they had to be like a little bit proper. So they probably couldn't go full on bananas with it. They might have wanted.
I don't know. I would bet that a lot of those golf consultants became golfers because they were big fans of Pro Golfer Saru, in the same way that you got loads of wrestlers who became wrestlers because they're like Niku Man, and footballers who became footballers because of Captain Tsubasa.
We may not have gotten one of them in this instance, though. Or they just weren't crazy enough, or maybe they're just kind of fun saying, I did get into that, but I don't want to fanboy out too much and put my own mad ideas. Maybe you should have, maybe you could have. No one never know.
I forgot that the shining wing imagery is also in Valkyrie Drive Mermaid.
We're going to like. Overall, it could have been a little madder. It could have been a little more like just stand out with its just bananasness. But it was still like a lot of fun. It still managed to managed to do a mecha anime about teenagers golfing. Like it's good.
And it's arguably got the best theme tune 2 years running of anime airing. So.
Oh, it's good. I've done that.
Yeah,
I've done that at karaoke. If got some people up for it, so yeah.
Nice. That's a good one to belt out.
Last year I was feeling neck and neck with your boy Kamuy, but now it's like if there's one of those I want to listen to more, it's the Birdie Wings opening.
I think like your boy coming, it was that got let's say mimified very quickly. I guess it was already like this from its origins of like what was this? It was like a Romanian kind of like fun dance track or whatever it was, and it's the second note that was already kind of had been recut and put together and
it's a football chant at one of the Japanese football clubs prior to your boy Kobe.
Okay, that's cool.
Because when I was getting my extravaganza ready, I was looking it up, trying to find mads based around it because I figured. It's got dancing in the opening. There's a good chance people are going to make parodies of it. And like the earliest sort by order of date. And I was like, why are there ones coming up like before the show aired? But no, apparently like the original song had been turned into a football chant.
Will Venus Line / Penis Line / Penis Life become like a golf course chant?
I don't
some kind of Happy Gilmore effect.
I don't think they're big on chants at golf courses.
I mean, like we see in this very exciting ending fucking sequence where they've combined their super moves. We still have the guys holding up the quiet sign, and I mean, like we hear the electric guitar riff and they do scream out their attack names, but it's just like there's like shut the fuck up. Everyone shut the fuck up. This is golf. Nobody fucking chant anything.
Hey, but it's just fun to do to be a fun. I think a protest because the Saudi fucking investment fund basically have bought like professional golf outright now. So fuck it, But maybe we need someone like Eve to come around. It's fun, shake things up. I'm gonna kill you.
We need to invent some sports that can't be bought by trillionaires or something. Yeah.
But then we need a trillionaire to take us into space. We could Birdie Wing, we get Birdie Wing Zeta or Double Zeta, or whatever it's going to go to.
Right, that's it for this week. Next week, even less things to talk about. So so that's fine. That's fine because turns out there probably is still 6 shows next season that I'm interested in, at least for their first episodes. Once I started looking at who was making some of them, I was like, okay, that actually might be quite good. So next week with what we got: Golden Kamuy, Heavenly Delusion, Hell's Paradise, Chibi Godzilla, Marginal Service, and MASHLE.
Yes. Yeah.
Those will all be hitting their last episodes, I do believe. Right, we'll see you then. Goodbye.
Stay safe out there.